Thanks for checking out Symphony on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.
With all due respect, probably Mr. President has now come out of his shell. But quite honestly, he has been more on the defensive, like on what he used to be. Ab initio, Mr. President has always been on the very forefront of providing ideas, and people see him as hopefully a problem solver. But
that's prior to 2015.
Yes, prior to that period. Quite a lot of people, especially the young Nigerians, give a lot of support to Mr. President's candidature, coming from his background against the issue of security, corruption, and possibly improvement on the economy and whatnot. Unfortunately, when Mr. President took over, I don't think probably they did a very good research as regard to what the situation really were at that period in time. So it becomes very difficult for them to really take off the way it was expected. And so a lot of problems eschew at that period in time. So grounds were lost. A lot of hope were being given, and real hope were being, people were being hopeful and giving a lot of laxity from Mr. President. So I think that spreads within the 6 years in period of governance. That is not to say there have not been some certain gains that have been done. But quite honestly, if I can remember very well, because of the huge expectation of people, when Mr. President was still signing, when we were using Twitter as at that time, somebody was like saying that, what is he wasting his time for? Let us start the work. Like, everybody was so enthusiastic about it. But I can tell you that enthusiasm has really whistled out. Probably this is where now Mr. President is trying to finish hard. What I mean by finishing hard, when you go into relay race, you expect your last hurdler to be the one that will finish very fast, probably overtake others. Maybe in the last remaining 2 years or 1 year plus that is remaining, maybe Mr. President will finish harder, coming from what we saw from the commissioning of the train station in Lagos. Those are the kind of features that Nigerians would have loved to have seen in the first 6 months of Mr. President in position of power. But unfortunately, it wasn't so. But we will wish that he could finish faster and stronger than the way he started.
Okay, I'll come back to ask you more questions, but we'll be looking at youth employment, we'll be looking at security, we'll be looking at what the administration has done so far, and what Nigerians are feeling, even as we celebrate democracy 22 years after. But let me quickly go to Alhaji Modibo. Yes, he has said that people are hoping that President Muhammadu Buhari will finish faster. But I'm going to take you on the 3 cardinal points that your party campaigned on prior to 2015. And these 3 cardinal mandates were security, ending Boko Haram and other insecurity in Nigeria, providing peace for Nigeria, looking at way of fighting corruption, as well as giving us a stable economy. And if you look at what's going on now, some people are feeling that this government, the APC government, as well as Buhari administration, have not been able to at least, I know that they have done some things, but they have not been able to tell Nigerians and to show to Nigerians that this is exactly what they have done, going by their mandates.
Thank you very much, EJ. Good evening, Nigerians. Before I move into this wonderful question, which is eliciting a lot of enthusiasm in me, let me first and foremost commend Mr. President for giving Democracy Day a name after Bashirun Abiola's victory. It was the freest and fairest election, one of the freest and fairest elections ever conducted on the surface of Nigeria and maybe sub-Saharan Africa. So for him to have thought of it and given Democracy Day on this day, June 12th, it's a commendable effort. Mr. President, we commend you. Having done that, let me state by way of preamble, EJ, you see, the decision of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari to venture into politics is born out of his patriotic desire to positively respond to our generational challenges. And what were the generational challenges at that point in time? 1 was to fight corruption. 2, to fix the economy. And 3, to tame, to fix the economy and then tame insecurity. Now, Mr. President has done exceptionally well in most of these areas of endeavor. Apart from these 3, these are the tripodal structures on which Mr. President rested, or the party rested its oars. But apart from that, there was the issue of also restoring dignity to electoral process for mass participation. There was also the issue of giving Nigerians rule of law and constitutionalism, and also the issue of relying on the ballot boxes, relying that everyone that comes to vote will vote according to this, and then results will be given. This is the only president, maybe in Sub-Saharan Africa, that has allowed democracy, has allowed people to vote free and fairly. What we used to see before was a do-or-die affair, where states were captured. People would sit under trees, write results, and go announce them on radio, and that understood. But this is a time where we saw the parties, Mr. President's party, losing elections. And even the courts were allowed free and fair access to judiciary to even pronounce that some of the states of Mr. President has been taken over judiciously, which is okay and is also in consonance with democracy. Now, in trying to look at the issue of fighting insecurity, then fixing the economy, and then taming, fighting corruption, taming insecurity, and fixing the economy. You will agree with me that in the first 2, the issue of fighting corruption and the issue of also providing social infrastructure have been there. What is lacking, as at this point in time, is the issue of insecurity. So this issue of insecurity is something that he made on ground, and it's something that he has stood head over heels to fight and then try to see that Nigeria is secured. But however, the government has been overwhelmed by the nature of security challenges that were coming from left, right, and center. Having stated this, if you look at the issue of fighting corruption, Mr. President has done very well. Whether we like it or not, during the times of Mr. President when he came in up to the present, the fight against corruption has been monumental. If you look at the activities of Mr. Magu while he was going, whether you like him or not, the fact remains that he has done exceptionally well in fighting corruption head on tails. And also, look at the kind of assets, in terms of recovery of assets, in terms of monies in dollars and pounds that have been recovered from the looters. You know, Nigeria for a long time has been buckled under the full weight of ravenous and greedy political class, whose funds and this has just been there to try to exploit our common till. And in trying to do that, Mr. President came in. One thing I like with the president is you can never attach him with any corruption index. As an individual, I challenge anybody to tell me that today President MOHAMMADU Buhari is corrupt. No. But we've seen leaders before who came into governance with maybe 20,000 pounds in their accounts, but after they left, they become multi-billionaires or trillionaires here in Nigeria. And therefore, to me, what the president has done so far has been able to fight this corruption, and then looking at the issue of fixing the economy. You will all agree with me, EJ, that since the president came in, he has been able to mobilize both human and material resources. Look at the beautiful, intelligent, the economic team that he has been able to muster under this famous Lagos economist. I forgot his name, Brethwaite or something like that.
Is it Fowler?
Who? No, not Fowler. That gentleman that is, I forgot his name, but he is heading the economic team. He has the economic team currently. Nigeria is the only country in sub-Saharan Africa, south of Limpopo and west of Zambezi, that has been able to come out 2 times under recession. Mr. President has done marvelously well. He has done what Napoleon the Great has tried to do.
Now, Alhaji Modibo, I really want to take you, or I want to take you on most of the points.
Yes,
you raised.
but whatever gains, EJ, must have been gotten from fighting corruption and also fixing the economy has been lost ground due to insecurity. And this could be excusable, bearing in mind that security is the challenges are almost everywhere in almost all the geographical zones. Okay. It seems as if we've been overwhelmed.
Alhaji, on fighting corruption, you have said that the president has been able to achieve what he told Nigerians that he will achieve. But are you aware that even under President Muhammadu Buhari, there's still huge corruption going on? What has happened to the NDDC and the forensic audit up till now? We have not seen the light of the day. It has not seen the light of the day. And you also hear of billions of naira. You heard what happened in the Ministry of Aviation. This woman that they just had to say excuse few days ago. You heard of the amount of money that has gone under the carpets?
Aviation?
Yeah, no, the agency under Ministry of Aviation. Under Ministry of Transport, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Maybe not.
Yes.
The agency under Ministry of Transport.
Yes.
I beg, sorry about that. That was a mix-up.
Yes.
Which she has next is what they even call the agency again. I've forgotten.
The Post Authority.
Is it
Nigerian Port Authority.
Port Authority? Yes,
Yeah,
Nigerian
yeah.
Port Authority. That
Yes.
woman has been labeled, though still an allegation, but we have not seen the final result of that allegation. If I begin to count the number, Obono Obla's case is still there. If I start counting a lot of corruption cases that we are aware of in Nigeria, and up to today, nothing has been done about it. So you say there's a success in fighting corruption. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, EJ.
Okay. And then
No,
you also talked. I will allow you to. I will allow you to. Let me just ask the entire question.
Okay.
You also talked about restoring dignity to an electoral process.
Yes.
You remember that the election that brought President Muhammadu Buhari was named one of the best elections in Nigeria, and it was conducted by the former administration, which you said no administration has been able to give Nigeria perfect election. And just a few days ago, Nigerians came out screaming that the president is nominating someone who has a party affiliate. That's talking about Loretta Onochie, and they are saying it's against the constitution. That one alone can also cause problem. You also remember that
AJ,
a lot
these
of no.
questions are too much.
Hold on.
Give me one after the other now.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, let me allow you.
Thank you. You see, the beauty of democracy is opening the political space for us to have intercourse of ideas in both content and character, EJ. You will agree with me that Mr. President, in fighting corruption, he has used the symbolic broom in trying to sweep across Nigeria. Whether you like it or not, this is the only administration that has been able to take former governors head on, who it decamped, thinking that they will have an umbrella within which to go and get sanctuary.
Have we seen the end of their stories? Have we seen the end
No.
of their stories?
What I was saying.
What I notice is that they start from the beginning, they get to the middle, they stop.
No, but there are
So
two.
what has happened?
There were two governors, Dare and Nyami,
Okay.
that are still in the gulag as it is today. They are in prison. Have you ever heard of any government since 1999 to date that has been able to capture one governor to put? None. And let me tell you, the issues of fighting corruption has been taken head on, but unfortunately, EJ, we had a judicial system that was moving at a snail speed. A lot of cases from the Magu era up to the present has gone to the courts in the land. But unfortunately, because of the processes of the law, because the law is an act unto itself, and the law is one thing that you don't take speed and get result on time. Otherwise, by today, most of these people would have been in prisons. Now, you're talking about NDDC, you're talking about Haja Hadiza of Port Authority.
Yes.
You see, let me tell you, if you hear the interview of Mr. President in the last 2 or 3 days, he stated categorically that in fighting corruption, he is taking time, just like people will be assuming that Mr. President, in the face of challenges, he doesn't talk. He is a man of action. He does not believe in taking impromptu decisions without consultation and without going to the nitty-gritty of the cases. And therefore, don't worry. All these cases are going to prop up. If I'm telling you...
So are you telling me now that in this administration, they don't have corruption cases?
No, they are.
They have people who are corrupt.
You see,
do they have people who are corrupt or not?
EJ, I am so sorry that it's only God, maybe, that will be able to lead this country and without people getting corrupt. Because as far as I'm concerned, the issue of corruption has become endemic to Nigerian society. President Muhammadu Buhari has done his best and is doing his best in trying to tame corruption. And let me tell you, what he's saying, the government has been having a kind of machinery, internal mechanism of fighting corruption, where some of these people that are eased out, he stated clearly that if he finds anybody wanting, he eases him out. And still, They are checking, cross-checking, and making facts available to deal with the issue. And lastly, you spoke about the
electoral process.
The electoral process.
Yes.
You see, EJ, I told you, I said when Mr. President was coming in, he stated that he was going to allow a free flow of electoral process that will be free, fair, and without contestation. And at least, from what we've seen today, the states that have been won under President MOHAMMADU Buhari were won free and fair. There was no government interferences. It has been a government that is yearning, that's meeting the yearning aspirations of Nigerians. I know, let me place a caveat. I know a lot of the people that respond to you, they are so insulting, but this is democracy. I have been reading it, and I like it.
Have you seen them?
Yes, no, I like it. But I want to challenge them.
Modibo, why are you being defensive?
No, I want to tell them.
You are being defensive.
I enjoy it because this is part of democracy. If they challenge us, if they pour insult, it's okay for me. As far as I'm concerned, President MOHAMMADU Buhari is so dear to my heart, and the activities of APC is so dear to my heart, and I stand to defend it.
All right, let's come back to Dr. YINUSA TANKO. Thank you. I'm sure you have listened to him. It took so long to tell us what the Buhari administration has been doing and how far they've gone. So what can you say about some of the points he raised? Fighting corruption, the electoral process, the justice system. Those are the insecurity. He didn't say anything about insecurity because he said that one is something that they're still battling with.
Well, you know, I have tried to restrain myself in speaking in a very mostly negative position, considering the fact that the country is so fragile at the moment now. So what we should be doing is that try to speak in a way that people will understand you are trying to promote unity in diversity and the challenges.
It has nothing to
but
do.
then, with this particular fact of some of these issues, we must speak to facts as well. I'm happy that he said that he loves his party and then he has to protect the interests of his party. So whatever that you see him doing, he's doing it in the interest of which I applaud and appreciate that. But the fact still remains stacked against the regime at the moment now. When you look at some of the issue of the indices with regard to issue of corruption, we had the Secretary to the Federal Government as at that time, who was accused and probably being challenged as regard to some of the issues with regard to, there was name being called grasshopper, and up to today, there's nothing being heard about that. And this is where, coming from the fact that Mr. President comes from the background of integrity, a lot of people who are expecting that Mr. President will deal with the issue of corruption at not at a snail's speed, but at a prompt action. But that is not done. A majority of the opposition political party sees as a part of political vendetta with regard to some other opposition being picked up, and then the decisions were being taken with the speed of lightning in order. And then even when you mention the EFCC boss at that particular time, where we agree that there was some work being done and all, but people see it as if it's being used against the opposition, as it were. So that does not depict the kind of character of fighting corruption that Nigerians were expecting to see. Because the fact still remains that what Nigerians were expecting to see is that block the loophole right from the beginning, what really lead to the issue of corruption in Nigeria. That has not been done. Rather, what we are doing is that we are continuously stifling and squeezing the poor people in order to say we are fighting corruption. You cannot expect that you are employing an accountant and you are paying him money of like 50 to 100,000 naira as salary. Then you saddle him with responsibility of 1 billion naira. You cannot, he cannot take care of his security of his home. He cannot feed his family. He cannot take care of the health of his family. The indices of fighting corruption should have been the fundamentals, which is actually needed in the beginning. That has not been done. And so that put the issue of fighting corruption at a total farce. But one thing you have to look at is that Mr. President owes Nigerians a duty to be free, fair, and just to everybody. That has not been seen to have been done. And that creates enunciation and anger. Probably some of the responses that he's alluding to, some of those particular facts that Nigerians are seeing. When you come to the issue of economy, as of today, the indices are very clear. In 2015, Nigerians are buying a bag of rice at the cost of almost how much? 7,000 to 8,000 naira. Today, go and check it. It's about 28 to 30,000 naira. The dollar exchange rate was about 70 to 100 or something,
yes,
to almost 400 or 500.
500.
At the moment now. When you talk about the issue of promises being made to Nigeria, we're going to reduce the pump price of petroleum and the rest of it. There are even insinuations from where we started at that time. Now we are talking about almost 300 and something if Mr. President yields to the demands of the governors as the way we are. And these are the things that lead to the issue of corruption. Once you make life difficult for the common man, they will have to look for ways in which even collaborating, even those who are in government, will find it difficult to feed and take care of this. So the long run short of it is that there's a heavy hunger in the land. And a hungry man is an angry man. When you talk about security, yes, at a point in time we were having, we were having checkpoints in almost every city of the country. But today, those checkpoints and the bombs have translated into little bombs in everybody's home. So that is the truth about the situation. So what we want is not to shift blame and say probably in the past we messed, because if we shift blame, the major reason why this particular government was elected was the fact that if there was hope that they are going to cleanse the country from the past decades. If Nigerians were so comfortable of the last regime, they wouldn't have voted for this particular regime. So there's no indices or reason for anybody to be shifting blame and say, so thing happens, so time. Coming from the electoral system, yes, there have been an improvement as regard to certain things that happen, probably due to the fact that Professor Mahmoud has determined that he's going to give Nigeria free and fair election, even though he's been challenged because of the way he's come into the position. And so a lot of things, and with this present nomination, it will continue to pollute what he's trying to gain at. We had the issue of Ondo and Edo election, which was adjourned to be free and fair one way or the other. But hey, we know what the whole thing is about, because most of the candidates moved from APC to PDP, from PDP to APC. So Mr. President is left with no option than to say, this was my candidate at a particular period of time. So I had to let it be, so whatever comes in happen. But then, the basic prerequisite that makes an election much happens to be, one, the Electoral Act, which we are still finding difficult to pass at the moment now. If we cleanse the Electoral Act, people move from party A to party B at will, and it's been allowed. That is treasonable against the interest of the people, because you sell a manifesto today, tomorrow you send another different manifesto to the people. So which one are you going to hold the people, the candidate accountable for? None. So the basic principle of electoral laws and best standards must be followed, i.e. making sure that the Independent Electoral Commission is completely independent as being proposed by Justice MOHAMMADU's report, the funding and all other indices, so that you can allow men of integrity who want to serve the country to perform their duty equitably well. But with this particular, it shows that Mr. President has another interest in the next election by trying to fix some of his own persons or people who believe in the ideas of his party. Remember, Nigeria is not a one-party state. We are a multi-party democracy. And for us, we who want to get this democracy, who have worked for it, fought for it, some of us have lost our friends in the process of fighting for democracy. For us to see this kind of things happening, it makes us so angry. And then it makes the total population too very angry. Nigerians are expecting a credible, free and fair election. Be as it may, whether anybody likes it, there is not going to be any Buhari factor in 2023. There's not going to be any Buhari's factor. Because he's leaving. And so what the legacy that Mr. President will leave for this country is to ensure that the electoral umpire is cleansed and have an integrity to conduct a free and fair election. Because at that point in time, the issue of insecurity that we're saying, if this coming election is not free and fair, the fracas that will ensure will take us again to another position in the next year. So what we are expecting that Mr. President should do as a part of legacy that he will leave this country behind is to make sure that we have a clean and clear election where the best of the best in this country will be elected, not by imposing or using the judiciary or any form of manipulation whatsoever to put people in position of power. It will not be acceptable because people are angry, they are hungry, they are determined to fight for their rights, and Mr. President cannot, I repeat, find a time for us to start thinking about how to clean the system again after he has left. It will not be acceptable.
But are you, now that you're talking about the elections, there are questions a lot of persons will want to ask. If the Senate knows that nominating someone who has a party affiliate, I've seen pictures, I've seen videos of campaigns and all that, where she was dressed in the regalia of APC and all that. Yeah. But they're still saying that she's not a party she's not an APC member. She's not a card-carrying member of the party. So that means she's free to go, because what the Constitution is saying is the person must not be a party member.
What hurts me most in Nigeria that happens mostly is that when you are in position of power and you are supporting an individual, you will see a black thing and you will turn it into white. Does anybody need to know whether she is a member of the APC or not? It is very, very clear she has been a pro Mr. President activity in every aspect of defending the interests of this government. She has been in it.
So if that is the case, then why is the Senate going ahead?
Because the Senate, of course, belongs to the ruling party. What do you expect? They have to do the bidding of Mr. President, because they gave them support. And that is where some of the challenges that we are having in our election. Because I have always been saying that our legislators and lawmakers should be careful when they make laws. They should be able to challenge things that are wrong. Because today is their turn. Tomorrow may be another person's turn. It may even come to haunt them, because they made those laws and supporting what is illegal to be legal. And at the end of it, or when they want to run for election, these same people who have been getting their bill for them will come out and hunt them. Then they will be crying foul play. And that is not right. It is not correct. Once we know, there are other individuals in this country, for crying out loud. Let them give her another position in their political party. There are so many opportunity. Must it be the National Independent Electoral Commission that we are hoping that is getting its rhythms now? With this now, it's drawing back. The people are doubting whether we will have a clean, clear election in 2023. And that is dangerous for what we are saying. Because already most of the problems that we are having is linked to political inclination. And now, when you put that kind of doubt in the electoral empire, it gives room for people now to continue to create all kind of problems that they want to create because of their own interests. And you know, bribery and extortion, violence and intimidation, all of these things are happening in our politics. But we, in the other side, we are trying to reduce it to the barest minimum. But if we continue in this regard, where governments, the body language and their action depicts the fact that there is going to be a kind of trying to emasculate the system to their interests, and also making it frontally known that we are going to continue to rule for a certain period of time. Come on. That is not democracy. Present your fact, present your action. Do what you're supposed to do to the interest of the people. They will be the one that will shout out for you. Not you saying that you, because already you think that already you put the indices in place to manipulate the system. Quite honestly, it is dangerous and it's inimical to the survival of our democracy. And I think Mr. President should resent from this particular action so that it will show that the background in which he comes from, the integrity level that he comes from, he will maintain it even if he has left office.
All right, Alhaji Modibo, before I take some messages, I need to come to you so that you can also react to some of the things he pointed out. You talked about the justice system. Before you start reacting to his statements, you talked about a perfect justice system. But are you aware that some of them have been on strike for some time? If it's so perfect, how come even the lawyers are not too comfortable with what they have at hand? And people now feels that if you go to court, who will be the one to judge your case? Because the people that are heading the judicial system have affiliates to the APC and the government in power. So what do you say? That's what people are feeling. That's the way they feel.
That might not be true.
No, I know it might not be true, but that's the way they feel. But, and what about education?
Yes.
In this part of Nigeria, people are afraid to take their children to school here. How can politicians be proud, those in government today, tell you and be proud to say that I have a child studying here if they've not taken them abroad?
Thank you, EJ. You see, when you talk of, the first question was, you know, you have given multiple questions to me, but Tanko, I'm only asking him one. Give me one after the other. But before then, let me respond.
Alhaji, you are very smart.
Look, let me respond.
You will come from this attack and defend angle.
You
but
see,
I'm just an umpire.
Thank you.
I am not a politician.
I'm not attacking you, honestly. You are performing your historical duty as a journalist of conscience. I always commend you for being very outright and also not being balanced. You see, part of the ethics and etiquette, professional ethics and conduct of journalism is to be fair, to be balanced, transparent, timeliness, as well as looking at issue from pragmatic viewpoint, of which you're doing. I commend you. Now, what I want to say here is that Tanko, Dr. Tanko Abinisho was talking about not reflecting back. But let me take him. I always align myself with the historical dictates of this philosopher, Joe Santayana, who has been quoted severally the world over as stating that if experience is not retained, infancy is perpetual. Those that forget the past are doomed to repeat it. That is why today, the past administration has cleared history from our syllabuses, and we brought it back because of the importance of history. We must have a background so as to stabilize ourselves and then project to the future. Having stated this, we are always conscious of the burden of history. We believe that we came in at a very difficult time in the history of Nigeria, economically, socially, security-wise, and what have you. Now, if we're talking about some of the achievements of this administration, you'll agree with me that even in the area of education they are talking about, when this government came in, there was only about 70 universities in Nigeria. But today, there are over 250 universities, both
has that solved the problem?
No.
The challenge that we have, infrastructure and human capacity.
Of course,
has it solved it?
In these universities, the population is growing, and therefore the government must act in consonance with the dictates of the population. As of today, just the last 1 year or so, this government spent over 1.7 trillion on education. Look at the feeding system of Almajiri and all these downtrodden children across the country. 24 million children have been enrolled into schools. Look at schools that have been cropping up. Agreed that we have challenges of insecurity what these people have been going to capture, but it's part of the developmental structure of every society that is progressive. There is no society, if we're talking about insecurity today, Nigeria has not been able to go halfway that of America. In America, the insecurity problem...
Really?
Yes, go and check. Go and check.
Are you aware, Alaji, are you aware that people can't travel again because of fear of being kidnapped or being attacked by unknown gunmen on the road? Hold on.
Yeah.
The roads are bad. The roads from the north to the south is terrible. Like I was saying, I cannot even allow my child to travel by road. So if I don't have money for flights, wherever you are, stay where you are. That's what we see in Nigeria today.
If you look at the transportation system they are talking about, honestly and sadly, let's be very objective. President Muhammadu Buhari, when he came in, he has started working on, look at the railway system. I challenge anybody to tell me from 1999 to the present, which government has started one project and executed to the letter, to the end? None, except President Muhammadu Buhari. He got some projects, executed them to the letter. Look at the railway system. Abuja to Kaduna. Yesterday, Lagos to Ibadan. There's Itakpa to Warri. There's now Kaduna to Kano.
But the PDP issued a statement that those are their projects.
Yeah, no. Let me tell you, you are starting it, but have you concluded?
That's one thing. That's one thing I have seen.
Exactly.
The fact that they concluded.
Yes, and you see, the beauty of governance is that of continuum. Government does not start and end with you. Your children will come and meet something and finish, and that credit goes to them. Therefore, what we're saying, in terms of transportation, look at even the major roads. There are network of roads of over thousands of kilometers that this government has done, but it is very silent because I would have challenged the National Orientation Agency to put all this in proper perspective and show Nigerians what this government is doing. Honestly and sincerely, if President Muhammadu Buhari were to contest 10 times, I'm sure by his antecedent activities, except for this insecurity, there is becoming a major clog in the wheel of progress. And this insecurity, if you look at, there were bombs everywhere before he came in. In Abuja here, we were sleeping with one of our eyes closed. Are
you sleeping with your two eyes closed in Abuja now?
Of course, in Abuja now.
Now that they come to your house, they knock at your door and kidnap you?
EJ, let me, to every rule, there's an exception. I agree, and I concede to your argument that there's insecurity.
Yeah.
This insecurity, I told you, is one of the major challenges that we hope to turn into opportunities for the greater good of this country. The president has been doing very well. So far, do you know that this presidency coming in, he has bought 26 brand new Air Force jets for the Air Force, and 12 Tucano jets are about coming in to fight this corruption. He's not sleeping. He's a man that is burdened, there's a burden of conscience that body is just trampling on him. If you look at the president, look at it from either diagonal, perpendicular, or horizontal axis. President Muhammadu Buhari's government is still intact. All I'm saying is, this man is out to change the face and character of governance in this country. And that he has been doing it, but there are a lot of challenges, especially this insecurity. If not for this insecurity, EJ, I can tell you...
Mr. Modibo,
yes.
Are you aware that just this year, between 2020 and 2021, the indices of both corruption, both insecurity, and what have you, have not been fair to Nigeria? The international indices, if you look at it, he also tried to mention some, have been telling us that Nigeria, one, happens to be one of the most corrupt in the world. Number two, poverty capital of let me say Africa. Yeah. I know that. So I think you want to say something about that.
No. You see, you are asking me this question. You see, the per capita income of Nigeria is the first in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. I challenge you. Go and look at per capita income in Nigeria as of today. If you are talking about these challenges they are talking about, EJ, let's be fair. Let's be sincere to ourselves. This president has done a lot to this country at this point in time. But let me still emphasize that in aggregate of opinion, the issue of insecurity has been able to wipe up almost every progress that we've been able to make. And therefore, in every democratic setup, looking at it from the viewpoint, let us really let us properly situate and possibly conceptualize the idea of governance, of which President Muhammadu Buhari is giving this country a facelift, is giving this country the desired leadership. But then we must face insecurity.
I think we need to allow Dr. Tanko to
let Dr. Tanko.
Yes.
Well, quite quickly, when I said making reference to the past, it's not as if you're not researching on the past. I'm saying that don't shift blame on the past. That is there's two different things in there. And secondly, when you look at the indices that have been positioned, according to the Wallometer, saying that Nigeria is the highest, most proven poverty level in the world. We have been made the poverty of the world poverty country of the whole world at the moment now.
Tanko.
That's what is written. I read it. He's not the one that's
right or wrong. This is what was being positioned.
This is ardent critics.
No. I am not. I have never been an ardent critic. I have also even given credit to Mr. President as regard to even before you said the railway system. I did so. But I am being I'm a very realist. I don't paint black to be white, maybe because I want to achieve something. I don't do it. I may be wrong in certain respect, but the fact still remains that at the moment now, against the promises that were being made to the Nigerian people, quite honestly, this particular government have found it far below short of that particular promises that have been made. And Nigerians are not seeing it. The issue of fighting corruption was positioned that we are going to deal with this particular insurgency in 6 months. We're in 6 years now. The level of corruption has risen beyond reasonable doubt, even where the people in government too are engulfed in it. It's a fact. And even where Mr. President too lost track of some of heart of issue of governance, where microscopic few of people were in charge of the government and Mr. President, even the wife of Mr. President came out and said that she's saying that where are the men? If governance is going on right, we will be the one that will be the vuvuzela of Mr. President. Nobody will need to tell us. We were in the forefront of making Mr. President, supporting Mr. President to become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at a point because we believe in his integrity. But if things are being done wrongly, we will say it. If things are being done rightly, we will say it. We will give praises. It doesn't take us anything. After all, Nigeria is our own country. We are own to build it together. But the fact still remains that we should not put butter and bread on a stone if it's not bread. We'll be doing ourselves a disservice as a country. If Mr. President has done put the facts on the ground, this is what we've achieved, this is what we've achieved. We have been hampered with insecurity, which has now made a rubbish of all of the things that we have achieved. So then that's
what he said.
Yes, that was what he said. So that means that you are inconsistent of what we are saying, that the level of insecurity has really, really dragged us back beyond our expectation. And what we were expecting that for us to have a general, a full-fledged general who has fought war within 30 months, he said, Mr. President said.
Yes.
Yes. And so the division in this country has been on for a very long time. The level of appointment has caused a lot of dismay within our people. People are of course, feeling very disenfranchised and feeling that they have been annihilated. And the fact that still also remains that Mr. President needs to speak to Nigerians and the youth for them to understand that this country belongs to all of us in a way that will create hope. But that has not happened. Right. And so some of these particular challenges are some of the things that we want. When we make positions, let it be clear, when we make positions, we are giving free consultancy. Because it is only the person who loves you that will look you at the eye and tell you that this is where you are going wrong. What is he trying to tell you? Giving you room for correction.